There is a question that sits beneath everything a person does, and most people pass their whole lives without ever asking it directly. Why do we act at all? What moves a hand to reach, a foot to walk, a tongue to speak? What sets the whole machinery of a human life into motion? Ibn Taymiyya begins his treatise on love with an answer so simple that its weight is easy to miss. Love and will are the root of every action and every movement in the world. Nothing a living being does begins anywhere else. Behind every deed stands a wanting, and behind every wanting stands a love. Strip these away, and the world of action falls silent. No one would rise, no one would reach, no one would build or seek or strive. This is the foundation, and the entire structure of the treatise rests upon it. So it deserves to be understood clearly, because once it is grasped, a great deal that seems scattered begins to fall into place. Consider any act you choose. A man eats because he loves the taste of food, or loves the strength it gives him, or loves to live. A merchant rises before dawn because he loves what his labor will bring him. A mother stays awake through the night because she loves the child whose cry she answers. In each case, peel back the action and you find a wanting. Peel back the wanting and you find a love. Love, then, is the source of all that comes into being through human action. It is the spring from which movement flows. But there is a second root, and it stands as the mirror image of the first. Just as love and desire push a person toward what he wants, aversion and hatred hold him back from what he dislikes. Hatred is the root of every avoidance, every refusal, every turning away. When a person leaves something undone, it is for one of two reasons. Either there was no love drawing him toward it, so he simply never moved, or there was a hatred standing in the way, a dislike strong enough to block the path. So the living being is governed by these two forces working together. Love draws him forward. Aversion holds him back. Between them, the whole field of human action takes shape. Here Ibn Taymiyya makes a point of remarkable subtlety, and it is worth pausing over. Even hatred, he says, is ultimately born of love. Aversion exists only because something beloved is threatened. A man hates what stands between him and what he loves. Were there nothing he loved, there would be nothing for him to hate. Think of it this way. You despise the illness that takes a loved one because you love that person. You resent the obstacle in your path because you love the destination. The hatred is real, but it is downstream. Love comes first. Love is the origin, and aversion is its shadow, cast by whatever threatens the thing the heart holds dear. This is why a person will sometimes do the very thing he dislikes. He swallows the bitter medicine, not because he loves the bitterness, but because he loves the health it restores. He endures hardship he would rather avoid because he loves what lies on the other side of it. The human heart never abandons a love except for a stronger love. It never accepts a pain except for the sake of a greater good. When two loves compete, the heart follows the stronger one and lets the weaker one go. So, love is not merely one force among many. It is the master force. Even when we choose pain, even when we embrace what we hate, we do so in the service of something we love more. Ibn Taymiyya does not stop at human beings. He widens the view to take in the whole of creation. Every movement, he says, falls into one of three kinds. There is willed movement, the movement of a being that acts from awareness and choice. There is natural movement, like water that when poured out runs downward of its own accord toward the lowest ground. And there is compelled movement, when a thing is forced against its nature by something stronger than itself. When you examine these carefully, the willed movements all trace back to love and desire, and even the great motions of the heavens, the turning of the sun and moon and stars, the driving of the winds, the gathering of clouds, the falling of rain, the springing of plants from the earth, all of this proceeds through the angels whom God has charged with the order of the heavens and the earth. They do not outpace him in speech, and they act by his command. And so all these loves and desires, all these acts and motions, are in truth the worship of God, the Lord of the heavens and the earth. The cosmos is not a cold mechanism grinding on by itself. It is a vast field of motion, and motion means wanting, and wanting points beyond itself to the one who is wanted. Here is where the argument begins to open towards something vast. If every act springs from love, and love must finally rest on something loved for its own sake, then the question becomes unavoidable. What is worthy of being loved for its own sake? A thing loved only for the sake of something else cannot be the final resting place of the heart, because then you would have to ask what that something else is loved for, and the question would never end. The chain has to stop somewhere. There has to be one thing loved purely for itself, with everything else loved on account of it. And nothing is fit to be loved for its own sake, from every angle and without limit, except God alone. He is the one in whom the heart's seeking finds its end. This is the meaning hidden inside the simple fact that love moves all things. Trace any love to its source, follow any wanting to its root, and you are led, whether the traveler knows it or not, toward the one who alone deserves to be the heart's final destination. This is the thread we will follow through everything that comes after. The whole of the Quran, Ibn Taymiyya tells us, is a call to this single love and to all that flows from it, and a warning against the loves that betray it. Every command, every parable, every story of the nations before us turns on this one axis. So we begin where the treatise begins, with a truth that is at once obvious and easy to overlook. You are always loving something. Every step you take is taken for the sake of something your heart holds dear. The only question, the question that decides everything, is what that something will be. In the next lecture, we turn to the love God Himself commands, and to why worship is nothing other than love brought to its fullness.